me about the railroad, Dad. What do you remember about this railroad?
Well, it used to go all the way down to Seabright, down Seabright and down along the ocean front. And after one terrible storm, it was washed out and they never replaced it. So they just had the bridge there. And I don't remember whether the train actually went over the bridge or not. And it had no place to go after it got over there, so I mean, I don't know if they ever did that. But this is the train I used to ride to school on when I was in high school. And there were two stations. There was this station here that was not manned. By that I mean there was no ticket.
At Waterwich?
At Waterwich, right.
Yeah.
And although it did have a waiting room and toilets and, you know, the train did stop there. But we were given a ticket that we had to pick up at this train station on the other end of town. So once a month, I would ride all the way down to the other end of town and then walk all the way back in order to get my ticket.
Now, do you remember what the name of the train line was?
I think it was called the Jersey Central. I wouldn't put money on that, but that's the thing that pops into my mind. The Jersey Central.
Now, this is like, there's a big gate here. You see where these two gates right here. Do you have any sense of what that was right there, that empty lot?
No. This is Miller Street.
Yeah, this is Miller Street. So tell me what happened on Miller Street.
Well, this was the chief place to go sleigh riding.
So you come down that hill, up from the top up there.
From the top.
From 36.
And down over the railroad track, and there was always somebody, as they were passing, that would let you know if a train was coming.
Ah.
Because there were no train tracks, no train gates or anything like that.
And what do you remember about the Perry's merry-go-round? Was that there when you were a kid or when you were later?
Yeah, no, that was there when I was a kid. In fact, I was, well, it was there when Jay was born. I took Jay there.
Right.
So
and Perry's merry-go-round was right over here on the corner. In fact, I wonder if that tree was even there. But this was, Perry's merry-go-round was right here. Right now, this is a apartment complex. Not an apartment complex, but it was right in here. It was Perry's.
Yeah.
And how much did it cost to go on to the...
A nickel. And they had literally hundreds of the pinball machines. And you would play them and win tickets.
Now, what do you remember about, this is a park right now, a very beautiful park.
Yes.
What do you remember about this park?
As I can recall this was owned by some individual. I have no idea who, but it represented probably some of the worst buildings that the people from the cities came down to live in during the summer months. I mean, they were shacks at the lowest level. I mean, they were just barely put together. They would barely keep them out of the rain and give them a place to go to the toilet. That was about it.
Now, this is Shrewsbury Road, is it? Or?
Yeah.
What do you remember about Shrewsbury Avenue? What was along here? And were these always houses too, or were these also shacks?
Oh, no. And right alongside stop a minute. Yeah. Right alongside of these shacks were these beautiful homes. Mm-hmm. I mean, one right alongside the other, very inconsistent.
So almost like they are now. They're still building beautiful homes right here along.
Yeah, but the shacks are gone. There was nothing was as bad as that. And there used to be a one-story building, like a ranch house, that was there. It was there for years.
And at the end of where Shrewsbury and Jackson Street are located, was the Jackson Hotel. Now, do you remember any of these houses here? Like this one. This one looks kind of old, but.
Well, yeah, but you know, it's been 60 years, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's over 60 years. But I don't remember houses per se.
Now this was go ahead, Dad.
This second house, I remember that. Not this one on the corner, but the next
the second one over, right
Yeah.
there, that lesser.
That was a family named Haran.
Now over here, this was right on the river. This was the Jackson Hotel. It was at the corner of Jackson Street and Shrewsbury. What do you remember about the Jackson Hotel?
And they built a beautiful bar, and it was really crafted by Bill Shadd. He was a Finnish carpenter. My mother just, told him what she wanted, and he came up with these with the finished product.
Do you know how many rooms were in the hotel?
28.
28 rooms.
28 rooms and 2 toilets, one on each floor at the end of the hall.
And do you remember any big events? There were lots of weddings and things, but were there any other big things in the hotel?
Well, nothing with any big names, but there was always some kind of activity.
Now, did Grandma Vi ever ask if you and Mother would get married in here?
Oh, no?
No?
No, nothing like that. Your mother and I celebrated our 10th anniversary here one time.
Now, what was next to the, right now there's the Twin Lights Marina next to, or is on this site.
Immediately adjacent to the Jackson Hotel property was Johnny Sorrentino's Johnny's Landing.
Which you think was right around where this office might have been here, you think?
Well, no, right where these boats are.
Right where these boats are. So the Jackson was probably to the right of these boats.
Yes.
And this was Johnny's Landing right here where these boats are. So probably where that telephone pole is right there, that to the left of that, I don't know if you can see it, but to the left of the telephone pole was Johnny's Landing.
I would say it's very close to that.
And to the right was... Now, was there anything on the other side of Johnny's Landing?
Yes, and I can't remember what it was. Because a lot of these places just sort of ran together.
Mm-hmm. Now, today the Wind and Sea is over here.
All these are brand new places.
The houses on the left are all brand new.
Yeah.
Those are brand new. And today over here to the...
And over here, this area was a really, really bad clam shack area.
And today the Inlet Cafe and the Wind and Sea, two very popular restaurants are over here.
And the same coming up in this block, too.
This was a very bad area?
Well, when I say bad, I mean, really shacky. People were living in it, and there were businesses. The clam business was being conducted here, and they had all the facilities. This building right here has been here forever. Ben Ninemark ran that. Very nice fellow.
What was it here?
A grocery store.
Oh, this was a grocery store right here.
This was the swimming area.
So the swimming area
right here on the right
was over here, and this was always a public beach here, right?
It's always been a public beach, as far as I know. And all this area here was all just cluttered with these clam shacks and facilities for handling clams, and women would be in there shucking them. And I think they were paid by the hundreds or something like that.
Now this is the Ninemark building. Ninemark. And you think that this was a grocery store.
It was a grocery store.
And today this is this is Miller Street, the end of Miller Street. And it's number 11 Miller Street and number 13 Miller Street. And straight up the hill is up there is Our Lady of something or other.
Perpetual Help, I think.
Perpetual Help.
We're down here on the right.
Okay, this is 5th Street that we're going down now.
Stop for just a second. That building right there used to be Azzolini's grocery store.
That brown building was Azzolini's grocery store.
Right, and I went to school with him. He was a year behind me.
Yeah.
And he got to be a big politician. He was either a congressman or a senator, and represented New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Was instrumental in getting the what do they call that? Hold it another minute now. The battleship, New Jersey.
Named?
It was the Battleship New Jersey,
Mhm.
and he had it brought here and put in dry dock. I used to play in this area all the time. Right here, you're passing it.
This
No,
area?
Not there, you passed it.
But this house?
Yeah.
Well, who lived there?
Or something very like it.
Like it, but this was on 5th and what was that, 5th and Miller he used
5th
to
and
play.
Miller, yeah.
Why did you play there, Bud?
A guy named Jimmy Cooney and I were very good friends. And we used to go hiking together.
What was his
and
address, do
swimming
you know?
Well, I don't know what, but there it was right there.
Oh, that was that. Well, in the corner, in other words, you're
Yeah,
saying.
no,
Okay.
not the corner, the next one in.
The next one in, okay, where the garage was.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is
Now,
5th.
and unless I'm mistaken,
Yeah.
right down here, that little 2-story building, right
I
here.
am right there.
That was Maggie's place.
Right there.
Yeah, right
And
there.
Maggie who?
Maggie Gross. You.
Oh, Maggie Gross. Okay,
heard of-
and that was Steve Gross's wife.
No. Grosch.
Oh, Grosch.
Groch.
Oh, okay.
And this used to be the Schweitzers.
And this was
And
the
he had
Schweitzers.
Pigeons.
Ah,
And
this
he
is
had
33 5th.
He used to do some really good flying. He had good birds.
We're crossing Valley.
Wait,
Come on.
This used to be Aunt Mame's boarding house.
And Aunt Mame who?
My Aunt Mame.
No, what was her last name?
Moore.
Moore. Aunt Mame Moore.
That was her.
This was a boarding house and there were a bunch of rooms in there?
Oh, yeah.
So this is, what
And
address is that? Does that say
36.
36 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that goes right down to the water.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. Up here, I don't remember what was up here. Not very much. It was always a little better section in that clamming area.
Right.
That was back there. So wait a minute. Someplace around here, right in this general area, is where the Eva and Jack Quick lived, and may still possibly. This could be it, right in here, or maybe even back. Pull up just a little bit, and we'll see. Well, that's his.
Sea Venture Marina.
I'm looking for some old buildings because they rented. Go down there. Let's see what we can.
This is the marina. There's some old buildings right there.
Yeah. Yeah, this could very well be it.
The
This-
Quicks?
The Quicks property, because they had the.
What we're on or over there to the right?
No, over there on the right. They're the buildings that are still there.
So they had a bunch of buildings or one?
Yeah. Oh no. All these little buildings they owned, and they went out to, I think, their private beach.
And these are crab traps, right?
Probably lobster.
Lobster traps? Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that this was theirs.
The Quicks.
Yeah.
And this is right at the end, right on the river, which is
Right.
very nice.
Of course, we knew the Quicks quite well.
Now we're coming back out on 5th again. We're going to make a right on 5th. We're just leaving the Sea Venture Marina. And we're going to go down here to wherever this is. Now, the clam depurification plant, or whatever it's called, is right over there. Was that there, do you know? It's like over there.
I doubt it.
Okay. Now this road, I don't know what this is, but there's a lot of little kind of bungalows here.
Yeah, well, I forget the name of the people who lived there,
Yeah.
but they were the ones who got me interested in raising canaries.
Okay.
Because I don't know how I was quite young, and they were raising them and offered to show me the babies and how they were doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there and I was so interested in them, I started doing it myself.
And that the house.
Hold it
yeah.
right here. Unless I'm mistaken, this house right here
Yeah.
is Tim. What was his last name?
Tim Hill.
Tim Hill. This is this woman he said ran the boarding house.
Mm-hmm.
This was the boarding house.
And this is at Cedar and Bay.
I'm sure that I know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Okay.
it.
And this is Second.
And this is 2nd Street.
2nd Street and Cedar.
Okay. Now, 2nd Street is where my friend Bill Welch used to live.
Not a very long street, is it? Unless it's
No.
someplace else.
These are all new. And
On the right.
Yeah, these are all new. I don't remember any of them.
Look at these little.
But this one right here, that's raised up,
Yep.
that was Bill's house.
That was Bill's, and this is
Bill.
53. What street are we on?
2nd.
And that was Bill.
Welch.
Welch.
WLCH. And then, slow down here, because one of these houses was the McGrails. McGrail. I went to school with one of them, Frank McGrail. And they had a whole bunch of kids. It could be this house, because it seemed like every time they had another baby, he had another room to the house.
Oh yeah, you can see how
So,
they've
one of
put
these places is all patchwork
them. Right.
in the back.
It looks like it. And that was McGrail, you think? Yeah, you can see how
Watch
it's.
it, John.
Oh, okay. Okay, here we are at
Okay.
Valley.
This was Patterson's house.
Where? This house here on the
Yeah,
corner? This was
right.
Patterson? What,
Right.
do you know the name?
I don't
First
remember.
name?
And there used to, stop right here. There used to be a big electrical thing, like a huge barrel that was just disconnected, of course, and sat there. And we used to sit on there.
Here,
at
right
night.
here in the corner?
Right here in the corner used to be this big thing. And on this lot, on these lots right here,
Yeah.
there were 2 vacant houses that were very close to being totally, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to play in those houses all the time.
So this is Valley and 2nd right here.
Yeah.
Now we're going down 2nd.
Now hold it a second. You see that brown fence area?
Yeah.
That's where Mame and Fred Moore's house was stationed first.
Okay. It was at the house, or is that a different house?
That's where it would. Remember the house moved from Valley
Oh, are
Street
you
to
talking
Bay
about
Avenue?
where the fence is, not
Where
the
fence-
house?
Yeah, the fence.
So
is.
there's nothing there now.
Well, that's because they moved the house. I'm
Oh,
saying.
but they-
This is where the house used to be
Got it.
situated, and then they moved it to the other side.
Gotcha.
Now we're down here. There were just people named Lawrence and Bill and Myrtle Lawrence
Mm-hmm.
lived in one of these houses here, and he ran the taxi in town for many, many years.
That's 18, number 18, number 16. And I think we're still in 2nd, aren't we?
Yeah. And then a woman named Hattie something lived here, and this was non-existent. This is all different.
This was like a maybe an empty lot or something?
I don't know what it was, but it wasn't this.
Okay. Now we're coming out on the firehouse. The new firehouse is right there. And this was Miller.
Miller, yeah.
Now we're going to go. And that's Andy Shore Bar. I don't know if you remember. Was it there? You don't remember Andy Shore?
I don't remember for sure, but there used to be on one of these corners, like on that type of corner, was a not something like a candy store. You get ice cream, and they used to sell large quantities of sherbet for a very reasonable price. We used to get that all the time. Here's a Methodist church that was rebuilt because the first one burned down. And here is that greenhouse that my mother and father and I lived in. And this is where Goldie Rosenblum and I used to play cards in the living room.
So this is 197 Bay. And you, when did you think you lived here?
Why do I think I
No,
lived?
when did you think you lived here?
After we left, we came to Highlands and lived with Fred and Margaret Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Margaret was my father's sister. And as families do, they must have had some sort of a disagreement. And My mother and father moved out, and as far as I know, that's when he got involved, or they got involved with I'm going to tell you about this.
Okay.
That's where they got involved with the Marine Bar.
But this is the house you lived in, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah. We lived in this. Well, really, what we had was rooms.
Right. Well, now it's a bed and breakfast. Now, you were going to tell me about this gray
It always was
place.
sort of a...
What's this gray place over here across from it?
Oh, that used to be a bar.
Yeah.
And that was Joe Brown's bar. And that used to be Katz's...
Still is.
Yeah.
Sort
down
of.
that road.
Hold it. This is Katz's right over there. Was that always a bit of a convenience store? Now, where do you want me to go?
Down that...
Down this road, down Valley. Okay. Was that anything? No, it's certified clam, I think.
There were stores or something here.
Okay, and the fire department.
Oh, I know what it was.
What?
This used to be the fire department.
The fire department used to be here.
Used to be here, and apparently it's over there now.
It's moved across the across the street.
And there was this little building, and an old man named Sam Foster lived in it.
Where we think where the firehouse is now?
No, back a little bit.
Back a little bit. Okay.
And his front porch was right smack on the sidewalk, so that when you walk by, you could walk out, reach out to the left
Thank you, dear.
and touch him. Not that you would, but that's how close he was. And he was so deaf that he couldn't hear anything. And this is when we were all learning how to curse. So we'd go by Sam, and he'd say, "Hello, boys, are you going swimming?" And we'd say, "Yes, you old son of a bitch," And we thought that was pretty big stuff, and any other. And I feel bad about it now because he was such a nice old man, and we were calling him all these terrible names.
Now where should we go?
Straight ahead.
This is 4th Street. We're on Valley, but we're passing 4th.
All right, the janitor. Hold on. The janitor who used to be in the grade school when I was there lived in this house right here.
And this was the grade school where? Highlands?
Highlands.
And where was that located? Is it still around?
It's a big building up on the hill.
Okay. So the janitor lived here. Remember his name?
Johnson, I think. Mr. Johnson.
Okay, and this is on Valley.
Right. Now, in either one of these three houses.
Yeah, this one, or this one.
And I really can't put a real for sure which one it was. Right. A guy named Bellavance. And his nickname was Pea Soup. Pea Soup Bellavance.
And what do you know about him?
Well, he apparently he was in the Navy and got his name specialized in pea soup.
Okay.
So he got the name Pea Soup. And this thing right here, hold it. This was not a house. This is the Schweitzers. Remember we passed
the Schweitzers? We passed
with
the
the
Schweitzers.
pigeons.
With the pigeon, where they taught you, they inspired you to raise pigeons.
No, that was the canaries.
Oh, the canaries. Okay.
Yeah, canaries. These were the pigeons I had.
All right.
I was inspired with them pigeons
All
too.
right, gotcha.
Anyhow, this used to be a machine shop.
Right here, but it's gone.
There's this building here. I don't know if they converted it or tore it down and built a new one or what. But there you are.
Now we were down here before.
Yeah, just came from here.
I'll tell you what, we'll make a left because it's one way. Let me turn.
I'm almost positive. I think I am positive. That is the house that Edna and Jack Early lived in.
All right, and this is on Bay Avenue, right across from looks like 237 Bay Avenue, but it's right across from 237 Bay Avenue. So Jack and Edna Early.
Yeah.
All right, and let's see, there's some other stores here that look like they've been long since closed, or this is one that's open, but we don't know what that one is.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Atlantic Street. Anything about Atlantic Street, you know? Clam huts down here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Remember I told you about that place with the sherbet?
Yeah.
This used to be the corner.
This right here was the
Yeah.
corner of, and we're going down Atlantic and Bay, and it's right there on the corner, and I had sherbet. All right, this is Atlantic. Look at this place, this old building. And down here is a restaurant called the Clam Hut, which is probably nothing you'd remember, because it's probably
No,
old.
that's new. But Jay and I had lunch there when he was here.
Now it's interesting. Some of these streets you can't get through. You can't go back and forth.
Yeah.
I guess you can go through here though. This is the back of the Clam Hut. We're just going to see if we can go through. We probably can't, but well, you never know. Yeah, there's. Now this part. This is. I think this is. These are all new, like condos.
Yeah, this is all new.
These are all new here. I wonder what was here. They must have just bought a big piece of property and.
Well, I think they were just a bunch of old houses.
But I mean, to buy the place, they must have had to buy a big piece of property. There must have been one owner.
I was going to say that some guy could have made an offer on all these things. And, I mean, the places were so bad that I wonder why they got that. Well, that's not a street.
And they went, no, it goes right all the way through. This is all one big condo development.
Yeah.
Now this was the candy store right here. But what do you remember? Do you remember it as a candy store or more?
Well, the candy store and the A&P. This is where I used to.
Oh, okay.
I used to work there.
Used to work.
And these three bungalows to the right are.
Those, yeah.
Used to belong to Frank Hall.
Okay. Now this is the house.
This is Mrs. Taylor's beauty parlor.
Hold on a minute. What was that big house?
Mrs. Taylor's beauty parlor.
And she lived there, but she also had a beauty parlor here. And we're at the corner of Seadrift and Bay, and Grandma Vi moved to that greenhouse, 66 Seadrift. We'll go by that in a minute. But this right here, now currently the Mexican restaurant, was what was it, Dad? Explain it again.
It was a candy store and an A&P.
Like an A&P grocery store.
Yeah.
Were they that small? They could be that small, an A&P?
Yeah, well, apparently they could, because there it was.
Well, do you remember what was next to this thing?
Yeah, Frank Hall lived there.
Oh, he lived there. And Frank Hall
lived upstairs, he and Thelma, and downstairs there was his office, and he had he and Thelma used to do income tax and bookkeeping.
Okay, and we were actually parked in an empty lot that apparently has always been empty, with the exception of an ice house that was over in the corner.
Now you see that single window on the first floor here on this building?
Hold it. This is your old house where you lived as a kid, and your dad died in this house. Yeah.
Yeah.
That single window.
That single window. At the end of a day, Annie, when it got dark, Annie used to put a chair there, and just sit there and watch what went by the street.
Now there are some fir trees back there. Were there always trees back there in the backyard?
No. And you see where that umbrella is?
Yeah.
That was where my chicken coop and pigeon coop was.
And was your room the one up there, the left?
With the air conditioner.
That was your
mine.
bedroom.
Yeah.
And what was that little window next to it? Was that the stairway?
I think that was the window in the stairway.
And who lived in the upper front closest to us?
Nobody. That was a they called it the off room. I don't know where they got the name, but it was referred to in the family as the off room, and it contained nothing but junk.
Okay, and
if you didn't know what to do with something, you put it in the off room.
And there's a window in the basement. Did you ever go in the basement?
Oh, of course.
What was down there? Junk?
Well, typical basement stuff. The furnace was down there, of course.
And do you think this was an ice house, or is this where you'd buy ice for the neighborhood? Or
well, this is new.
Right, but there was an ice house in this general location.
Well, the ice house was in the middle of this thing.
Oh, it was in the middle of this whole block.
Yeah.
Oh, not the block, but this parking lot.
In the middle of this lot. And they used to just come here and
Now, were you friendly with any of those neighbors across the street, or?
The first bungalow right there,
Mm-hmm.
my very good friend, no, he lived in the second one.
That one right there.
That was Arthur Horan.
The one with the plants coming out of the...
Right.
Isn't that weird, the way the plants are coming out?
Arthur Horan lived there.
Well, that's the second Horan you've talked about
Oh, Horans
today.
are all over the place.
The Horans are all over.
And his cousin Leo Horan lived next door in the house that was replaced.
Next to your house.
Yeah, next to 85.
Okay. And your dad died up in the bedroom in the
Front right.
window up there. And what was that window way up? Was there a window up in the attic up there like that?
Oh, no, we hardly ever went up in the attic. It's just...
Sure. And you said there was at the end of the street.
Let me tell you something.
Okay.
My friend Arthur Horan lived in that second one, but it didn't look quite like that. It was much more, undeveloped. This one looked pretty much like this, and an ex-showgirl from New York named Frankie, who was about 85 or 86 there, and was having all kinds of parties. She had more friends than I used to come down here and raise hell and have a hell of a time.
And did you ever go to these parties?
Oh, no.
You were young.
I was a kid. She was maybe 86,
Right.
88, maybe 90. I don't know.
And your road dead end.
Down here, this was the very last building, and it was a shack.
Oh yeah, but not now.
No, not now.
It's been replaced.
The shack has got to be gone. And Walter and Harold were the two kids. No, Evelyn and Harold. Evelyn and Harold were the two kids who lived there. And over here, where you see this sort of red building,
This was a barn?
that used to be a dilapidated old two-story barn.
But it's been torn down and this has been rebuilt. And this dead ended to a railroad tracks.
This then ended right into the railroad.
So would you feel the railroad going by and all, or hear it?
Well, you might hear it, but you never. I mean, it was an accepted fact. That's the railroad. There's the train, and you hear it.
Okay, now we're on Shore Drive. This is again was the railroad tracks.
And all this stuff here was on a hill, and a rather steep hill, and through that hill, running along, in the way we're going now, was a path, and it would be up and down a little bit, and that's the path I used to take coming home from school.
You'd walk sometimes.
Naturally, and if I didn't feel like walking in the street area. I don't know much about this road here in Rome.
Well, this is the.
This has always been a garage.
Where over here to the right, this was always this was the garage that is on the corner of Washington Avenue and Bay Avenue. That's always been a garage, and we're going to go crossing.
And I'll tell you what's unique now. Almost all of the buildings are up. I mean, you see very few that are down on the ground, and that's because of the flooding that is so consistent. So that back then, there was, I can't remember any of the buildings being up high like that.
Now, the Highlands Yacht Club was over there.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to that?
I really don't remember. Even then, the people who went to that were considerably older, like my mother and Frank and those people.
And this is Cheerful Place we're on right now. And this is Barbary Avenue we're crossing. We're on our way. The road up there that dead ends is Seadrift Avenue. We'll go down to the bulkhead in a minute, but...
Now this one right here, this is that... remember where I came out and hung a diaper on a people? That's the door I came out.
Really?
Yeah.
So where did you hang the diaper?
Well,
right here.
Obviously something right there.
And this is the girl there. Okay, I see it. So
and the Bolins.
And so who lived? The Bolins
lived there.
The
Bolins lived there. And Mickey Monahan lived in, I think, in this house right here.
47 Seadrift, do you think?
I think.
That one right there, maybe. All right, well, let's go down. Let's go down to 66 Seadrift and see what you remember. There's a lady, 51.
No, she is.
So here is, you said you remembered somebody living next to Grandma Vi, 66. Was it this building here?
This lady here was very nice, and she took care of Jay when he came back with the hook in his hand.
And this is 66 Seadrift where Grandma Vi was.
And that's all revised.
And Annie and Pappy died in this house, right?
Pappy did. Annie had died in the hospital.
And then across Bay Avenue, you can see it way over there. That's the house that you were in before you went into the war.
Right.
Right there. And this was the candy store and also the A&P, and you worked at the A&P.
Yeah. And this house immediately to our left is where Ray Hultzberg grew up.
63 Seadrift.
She's the one that you interviewed down in Lake Worth.
Oh, when I interviewed with
Ruth.
With Ruth Roy, or Ruth Monahan.
And then when she got married, she moved into this house right here.
Right here.
Yeah. And she and her 3 children and husband lived there, and we could talk to each other from the room at a window at the top of the stairs, and I don't know where it was in her place, but every now and then we'd meet there and pass the time of day.
Mm-hmm. What do you remember about the? Now they put a fence up here, but there was like a 3-car garage here.
There still is a 3-car garage back there.
Did you actually have 3 cars, or what did you keep in there?
Well, my grandfather kept his car in there, and I don't remember if I had mine in there, because it was one of those things that every time you wanted to go anyplace, you had to get out of the car, open the door, and then open the other door and prop it so that it didn't blow closed. Back your car either in or out, then get out again and close the damn thing.
All right, now we're going down. We're leaving. That's 66 Seadrift there. We're leaving that, and you were after the war. This was now even when you were in 85 Seadrift. Did you come down to the seawall down here?
Oh yeah.
Cheerful places on your left. Anybody else that you remember living down here?
Well, Ruth Roy.
Right. Well, we got that.
And some other people who had an odd name that I don't quite remember. But after the war, now Ruth Roy lived in one of these houses, and I just don't know which. One of these on here.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I'm mistaken, this house right here has been raised up. You see how it's all up like that? A girl named Arlene Feste lived in there.
This is at Seadrift and Recreation Place. I wonder why they call it.
Went to school with her.
I wonder why they call it Recreation Place.
And one of these places along here, before the beach was filled in, the water, they had a bulkhead there. That was your backyard, the bulkhead. And it was, the tide would come in, but it was never a place that was real good for swimming. I think people did actually swim in it once in a while, but it wasn't, excuse me, particularly inviting, you know?
Now this is the bulkhead. What was here when you were younger?
A bulkhead.
There was always a bulkhead, but
Only it was made
smaller.
out of wood.
Could you dive or swim off of it, or did you? Mm-hmm. Which is the beach that you mostly went to besides the bridge? Was it that public beach we saw before?
I used to go to Valley Street when I lived there by Maine. Mm-hmm. And then Miller Street. And then the one down by the bridge.
Mm-hmm. And you remember this building straight ahead.
Yeah, that's where Jack and Edna had their...
and Jack and Edna early.
Yeah. And I think there was a way of getting into the water here.
Yep. Oh, I see. You mean you.
Personally,
yeah, pedestrian.
And when I was quite young, Fred, my cousin Fred, you know, Mame's kid, would put me in back of him when he'd go swimming, and I would put my hands on his shoulders, and then we would both swim out into the water that was well over my head, which I found very exciting, because there I was way over my head, you know, and of course Fred was my security blanket, so to speak. Three stories high.
This is the new community center where they had the Historical Society picnic, which is also the library.
There.
Yeah, that's a sandwich shop.
That was run by a little old lady called Mrs. Kosher.
Ah,
And it was her son, Freddie Kosher, that ran the Studebaker shop, or Studebaker
up near West Marine now.
Yeah.
Now this is the main drag, Bay Avenue, where that's the garage to the right. We're just about to pass Barbary Avenue, and Francesco's is on the right. And
where you got the pizza?
tell me, Dad, where? No. Tell me where the George Snyder bar was.
Okay, go on up here. Pull over and stop in front of that pole.
Okay.
Now you see the general. Come up, pull up a little further. All right, now stop right here. You can see this general area right here. Can you not?
Yeah.
Looks like this was part of the thing there. And we'll back up just a little bit. You see that post?
Yeah.
All right, that's the end of the lot. Now the bar was there.
Right here.
Right smack there, and that building was not.
Right.
But there were buildings back there.
Right, but they're all torn down.
They were
for
all
the
torn
condos.
down and been replaced by these. And they went. There was just one series after the other, repetitious, same building over and over and over, right back to the track. And then there was a few that went along with the track. And then right about up there where that road is now was a service station. That was Harry Nine Marks, the brother to Ben. Remember we talked about Ben Dennett? That was Harry Nine Marks and Ben were brothers. And there was a station, and the when I say a station, it was like a big square garage right on the street.
And you could get gas and everything right in here.
But you bought your gas right at the curb.
Ah.
Just like these things are
Like,
situated.
yeah, you just pull over and they'd fill you up right. You wouldn't even go in.
Right. There was no place to go in. It was just there. And I think he had something like two pumps. I don't think there were more than that. And that's where you'd go in and get maybe $1 worth of gas. You never said fill it up.
This is Bay Avenue, still going toward the bridge. And we're coming into the business district here. Now, was it all a business district from the whole Bay Avenue? Were there lots of shops the whole way, right?
Yeah, always.
But most of the big businesses, weren't they over? Was the main part of town where Captain Wheeler's bar was, or was it all?
It was all. I mean, there was no.
Was there one center of activity like Miller and Bay or anything?
No, I mean it was just those. I mean the things were located here and there. What you went where it was necessary to go. The post office used to be way on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not way on the other end, just down the road a little bit. I see where I am now.
There's Andy Shore Bar on the left.
And right in around here, I think the building must be gone now, was a shoemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And the only ones you ever saw was the man and his son. And one day, the rumor came around, and I forget what the hell his name was. And it said that his wife died, and nobody even knew she was alive. You know, she was just She was yet never there. We never knew she had a wife. We had a son, but we figured, that can happen.
Now we're coming up on Captain Wheeler's Bar and Grill, I guess it was called, wasn't it, or what?
No Grill, I think.
No Grill. And right now it's
Captain Wheeler's Marine Bar.
Marine Bar. So that was, right now it's the Twin Light Tap House, and that used to have a bay window right up there. And Dad, you lived up on the top floor?
Yeah.
What was that about? When would that happen?
Well, we went from Mame and Fred's to this place, as I recall it. And until we got to live up there, we lived in by Mrs. Rosenblum, I was telling you about.
Now, what businesses do you remember that were right on this block? Do you remember?
The corner there with the little red awning was a 5 and 10.
Okay.
And Mr. Woolley ran that, and he was an older man, and he was being sort of taken care of by a woman named Nora Spangler, and she had bleach blonde hair with real tight curls like they had in the 30s against her head. Just her hair was very tight against her head and wavy. And she had a daughter named Thera Spangler. Then right next door to that used to be Stamens, like candy, and
that was the one with the kind of stepped roof. The one where it goes up.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, and then there was the Captain Wheeler's.
Then the Marine Bar, and next to that was Fell Harbor's Tailor Shop. And then next to that, which apparently is torn down now, was a barber shop.
Okay.
And then, of course, the building that has that black overhang.
Yeah, with the yellow building.
With yellow building, that was the post office.
And then what was after the post office? Do you remember?
And that was Ann and Sam Silverblatt's dry goods store.
Right next to the post office.
Right. And when I was very young, before we even got in this general area, I worked in there putting stuff back on the, he showed me how to fold them and put it back. And this over here is the Episcopalian Church. That's been there forever.
Okay. This is where I got the pizza, by the way.
Okay. That used to be Rast, R-A-S-T, Esso Station.
Ah, the Esso Station.
Right, that was there, Rast.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Rast was the guy who owned that. And Fred lived right here on the other side. This is all new. I don't remember anything here. But I think in this building.
Right here where the bakery is, that used to
who
live there?
Breakfast and lunch.
It's a bakery. Who lived there, do you think?
Fred Rast used to live there. And he had a son named Fred Rast, who married a girl from our school. And they had a boy. And one time I met her with her son, and the senior had been dead for years, and I knew that. And here's this guy sitting alongside her, looking exactly like her husband. Absolutely a dead ringer for her husband.
Now, what do you remember? Right now, there's the Lusty Lobster over there. What do you remember about that? What was that called?
Was that that I think was the Marine Theater?
Yeah. What do you remember about that?
Well, the Marine Theater used to be able to go there for I think 10 cents, and I loved the movies even then, and I would go there in the afternoon sometime, and my mother and father would have to come out of the Marine Bar and go up there and get me out of the movies.
So the Marine Bar, you didn't really have far to walk because the Marine Bar was right here, back over here.
And on Saturday, they'd have a matinee, for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd have, you know, a lot more cartoons than they would ordinarily, and then they'd give you a little prize. And I remember one time the prize was a little white ball, and all these kids came out of there, and you looked up and down the street, and you see all these balls going up in the air from all the kids throwing them around, you know, after they had gotten them for
Now,
free.
this is an empty
And
lot. Go ahead.
Once a year, around Christmas time, I think it was one of the clubs in town used to have a giveaway of Christmas toys for all the kids in town. And I went there, and my mother did not want me to go because that was for the poor kids. You know, you're not poor, you aren't supposed to. And they persuaded her that, you know, it's not just for the poor kids, it's for the kids in town. Well, I sat there and I sat, because they called numbers.
Yeah.
And they had all these toys up on the stage, and when they called your number, you went up on the stage, chose a toy, gave them your ticket, and left.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time I got there, all the good stuff was gone, you know. And I even forgot what I got. And a woman named Nedra Rogers used to sell tickets there. And go down the street, you can. She used to sell tickets. And sometimes it was common practice to try to see if you could get in without giving him the ticket, because then the next time you come in, you wouldn't have to buy one. You'd give her that ticket, and you get in for free. And then back here, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I don't know. Anyhow, there was windows under there, and we used to sneak in through those windows. My mother would have died if she knew this. Well, we used to sneak in there and then crawl on our hands and knees out from behind the screen against the wall and just, you know, come up and sit in a seat and watch the show and then go out. And you could see these people who were working there would look at us, and I don't know, maybe it was my conscience, but I knew damn well that they knew that we didn't buy a ticket to get in there, and they didn't want to say anything, because what could they say, you know? We didn't have a ticket, we would have given it to them.